Have you ever had a guy text you, "Are you home safe?" just as you close your front door, or maybe put his jacket on your shoulders when the night gets a little cold, or offer to walk you to your car when the lot's empty? These actions may look small, but if you're anything like most women I've worked with, they feel far more real than a bunch of bigger gestures. Because underneath those simple actions lies a feeling that most women crave, even if they rarely admit it out loud, and sometimes even feel a bit of shame accepting. The feeling of being genuinely protected by a partner, in most cases, a man. Now, before you roll your eyes or throw a tomato at me, please hear me out. I'm not saying you need saving or that you need a guy to take care of you or to complete you. You already juggle work, bills, and maybe even fix the garbage disposal on your own. I am talking about a man who notices the weight you are carrying and grabs two of the heaviest bags so you're not lifting everything alone. I'm also not talking about possessiveness or the dude who thinks jealousy is the same thing as caring, because that's a form of control, which is the opposite of protection. Real protection feels safe and makes your life feel bigger, not smaller. It's knowing that he's paying attention to what you need, sometimes even before you mention it. These aren't scripted lines. They're vulnerable truths you naturally express through your actions, your energy, and how emotionally open and honest you show up. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what these three emotional moments are, why secure, emotionally healthy men respond so powerfully to them, and how to inspire a man to naturally take initiative and choose to protect you, not out of possessiveness, but because he sees your worth and value and is moved to put himself on the line for it. Because when you know how to inspire a man's healthiest protective instinct, you finally get to relax into the care of someone who truly sees you and chooses to risk himself for your heart, your life, and your dreams. Why is it that you can close $1 million deal at noon, run 8 miles after work, then solve a late night crisis call from your team, but still feel excited when a guy says, "Let me walk you to your car, I've got you"? The reason I created this video is that I felt the confusion in the hearts of so many women I've helped, and I'm talking about C-level executives in Fortune 100 companies, super successful doctors, lawyers, and scientists, when a part of them craves the protection, but another part whispers to them that they are weak for feeling this way. Back in 1989, a research study by psychologist David Boss asked women in 37 countries what mattered most in a long-term partner. Now, can you guess what showed up almost at the top? Will he protect me when it counts? Now, in case you're saying, "Hey dude, that was 36 years ago. Women have changed." Well, think again. In 2022, researchers Freire and Wade ran the same survey, but now in 45 nations with the exact same result. Even women with impressive titles, six-figure salaries, and advanced degrees kept "Will he protect me when it counts" near the top of their partner checklist. So why does it feel so good when a guy has that kind of energy and vibe around you? As confusing as that can feel, especially in a culture that celebrates and glorifies doing it all yourself, that pull is not a flaw. Part of it is hardwired in your nervous system. The moment it clicks that he would step in, if things got rough, cortisol levels drop and oxytocin levels rise. The rest of it is evolutionary memory. For millennia, women have survived, among other things, by choosing partners who shared the load and took the lead in facing danger head on. So in other words, biology and ancestral wisdom fire the same signal. And that's why, if you think about it, the urge makes perfect sense. As I shared earlier, many women feel a twinge of shame for wanting that feeling of protection. This is because culturally, we've more recently equated needing protection with giving up your strength. But the truth is, it doesn't. It simply allows you to invest your strength in bigger things. Now, the real risk isn't wanting this protection, it's confusing it with possession. One guy walks you to your car, maybe tells a joke, and says goodnight and lets you get on with your evening. Another dude demands to know who texted you, scrolls your phone pretending to do it for safety, and then he has the audacity to call it love. Social psychologist Joseph Bandello names that second vibe as precarious manhood, insecurity disguised as chivalry. In other words, real protection will expand your life, possession will make it smaller. So now that we've made these two distinctions, how do you keep the healthy, protective guy close and weed out and push away the unconscious controlling ones. First, I'm going to break down 3 specific moments of honest openness that naturally attract and inspire a healthy, protective man. And then I'm going to share a simple boundary framework to spot any possessive behavior early and move on before it wastes your time. Shared moment number 1 is the vulnerable art of asking him to share the load. Now, imagine you've been hiking a steep trail all morning. The sun is high, your water's almost gone, and your backpack straps are starting to destroy your shoulders. So you turn to the guy beside you and say, hey, this pack is killing me. Can you please take it for the next stretch? So he swings it over his back with a smile and without making a big deal out of it. The climb is still steep, but you can feel your lungs expand all the way. That swap is both physical and metaphorical and accomplishes 2 things at the same time. First, you vulnerably admit a limit and stop pretending that you're feeling fine. And second, you show him in actions where it counts that you trust him with something that matters, because every snack, every jacket, every key to getting out of the mountain sits in that pack. Neuroscientist James Cohen studied moments just like this, and he refers to them as the shared load effect. When the brain registers the presence of capable company, it dials down the internal alarm siren. So your heartbeat slows down, literally, your muscles soften, and the world feels a bit more safe. Now, I need you to know that a healthy man likes that feeling too. He's wired to carry the weight when you let him in. On the other side of things, a guy who's more wired for control hears the same request and tightens up because his insecurity convinces his ego that sharing the load means losing control and freedom. Now, here are 3 ways to share the load with a guy in a vulnerable way that inspires healthy protectiveness. Number 1 is asking for feedback on something you're working on. Let's say you're trying to finalize the opening for a big presentation at work. You could say something like, hey, do you mind listening to the first minute? I value your insight and I can't tell if it's a bit boring. The right guy is going to set his phone down, listen, offer a suggestion or 2 if you want it, and encourage you to do great. A man who is wired for control is going to probably dismiss your feelings with something like, hey, you're always overthinking it, and will then try to put you down and have the guts to rewrite the whole thing without considering your input or feelings. Number 2 is ask for a favor where he gets to invest real time. Maybe your car is stuck in the shop all week and the dealer shuttle sucks. So you text him, hey, could you swing by after work and give me a lift home? Now, the man you can trust is going to pull up when he said he would, maybe even with a coffee in his hand, and ask you how your day went, and then drop you at your door with a smile. The guy who runs on control is going to show up late, complain about the traffic, and the next morning will mention in passing how much of his evening he gave up for you. In other words, the ride comes with strings attached. Number 3 is ask for backup on an area of your life where you could use his strength. Let's say you've got a networking mixer on Thursday with a room full of people you hardly know. So you call him and say, hey, these events make me feel super anxious. Is there any chance you would come for the first hour and be my anchor in the crowd? Now, the guy who's truly on your side and has this healthy protective mechanism is going to say, sure, just let me know what time. So he's going to show up dressed in a jacket, introduce himself, and then stand shoulder to shoulder with you while you make your rounds. The guy who needs the upper hand is going to joke that you'll owe him drinks all weekend. And if he does appear, he's going to disappear to pitch himself to whoever's listening and leave you alone by the cheese tray, wondering why the hell you even asked him to come. You see, the right guy will feel emotionally closer to you when you make any of these 3 asks. The wrong guy will use it as an opportunity to get something back from you. Now, if you're a single woman who's watching this, I'd be willing to bet you're not aware of the root cause, the real reason why you're still single. So what I've done is I've taken 14 years of helping women in every walk of life, facing virtually every kind of challenge you can imagine, to attract their ideal life partners. And I've put together a quiz you can take in about 60 seconds that will reveal to you the number 1 reason you're still single. In other words, your biggest attraction blind spot. If you want to participate, all you have to do is go to the first link in the description. You're going to see a page that looks like this, answer a few simple questions, and within 60 seconds, you'll get 2 things. The answer to the elusive question, why you're still single, and a custom report based on your specific blind spot that's going to share what's the number one thing you can do today to attract the relationship you want in a tiny fraction of the time. Shared moment number 2 is I feel safe when you, and then fill in the blank. Think of this in terms of an old beach house on a night that a storm is about to roll in. You're inside, the wind is slamming the shutters while the guy you're with walks from room to room, latching each window tight. As you hear the last bolt click, your heart rate naturally starts lowering. And it isn't that you couldn't close the shutters yourself. Of course you could. You've done it plenty of times. But knowing he is on watch and taking care of it lets your nervous system settle down even more. Psychologists call this felt security. In a 2020 study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, 82% of men said their own relationship satisfaction spiked when their partner simply expressed moments they felt safer because of something the man did. In other words, telling him, I feel safer when you, and then whatever it is you want to tell him, it also lights up his sense of purpose. To make it even stronger, this also gradually starts setting his identity as someone who is generous and a provider of emotional safety. Think of that. When that happens, he'll naturally want to continue doing it because it's who he identifies himself as now. Here are 3 ways to fill in that blank that are simple, specific, and a bit deeper than, can you walk me to my car? First one is, I feel safer when you wait by the side of the road until you hear my front door click and lock. Now, obviously, you don't need a bodyguard, but knowing he's still out there when the bolt slides allows you to relax and your brain to switch off duty. I feel safer when you sit next to me at family dinners. That spot puts him between you and racist Uncle Gary, who's unaware of his painful stories or his elbows. With him as a buffer, you can enjoy the meal instead of holding your breath the entire time. Third is, I feel safer when you walk the first block with me to the subway or you name it. You feel relaxed once you're on the train, but having him there for that first short stretch through the night crowd lets you focus on more important things without feeling on it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The biggest impediment standing in the way of you being this clear, vulnerable, and open with him is going to be your ego. That little voice that will try to convince you that you shouldn't want this or that there's something weak inside of you. Let go of that fear. And if he's the kind of guy who is good for you, you will see him show up stronger for you. Shared moment number 3, having you next to me makes a difference. Now, think about the difference between standing at the edge of a double black diamond run for the first time and standing there with a guy you trust watching from below. The mountain is just as steep and your nerves are just as jumpy. But seeing him waiting for you down there makes starting to go down easier somehow. Psychologists at the University of Virginia studied exactly this in a 2013 experiment. Women were placed inside an MRI machine and told that they'd soon receive a mild shock. Their stress-related brain activity surged, but when a trusted partner simply held their hand, that stress response fell dramatically. There was no advice, there was no verbal reassurance offered by anyone, just someone familiar and safe nearby. Researchers refer to this as the social baseline theory. Humans literally feel stronger and less afraid when they sense someone trustworthy by their side. So when you tell a man, having you next to me makes a difference, you're letting him know his presence alone shifts how you face the world. And to a good guy, knowing he matters simply by being there is deeply affirming. It gives him clarity about how he can support you without any complicated strategy needed. Now, if you listen to nothing else I share in this video but this, your connection with men will improve and change for good. Tell a man specifically and directly how he can make a difference in your life for the better, and if he can, he will. Here are 3 simple examples of how you can express this in everyday life. Your specific situations might be a bit different, but the essence of how you frame this is what actually matters. First is, I feel calmer when you sit with me in the waiting room before my doctor's appointment. You intellectually know that the checkup will probably be fine, but your imagination may have other ideas. So with him sitting beside you, going through a magazine, your breathing will slow down and feel easier. It makes a difference when you are in the audience during my presentation. Even if you've practiced this 10 times, if you feel a bit nervous, allowing him to co-regulate with you can make a massive difference for both you and for him. And third is, having you there when I meet a new group of people helps me open up more quickly. You know that you're going to warm up eventually, but if the initial introductions always give you the kind of bad butterflies in your stomach, when he's nearby offering a subtle nod or a smile, that tight feeling will start easing up and letting you relax into being yourself sooner. Each time you say something like this, you're pointing him towards a role that's uncomplicated but deeply meaningful to him. Being grounded, present, and emotionally supportive. Good men feel a sense of pride stepping into that place beside you. Not because you're weak, but because your vulnerability, which is one of the most courageous and beautiful parts of you, allows him to serve you from his heart. Now, to conclude this video, I promised that I would share with you 5 specific ways to distinguish between a guy who is protective in a healthy way and one who is an alpha controlling douchebag. So here we go. Number 1, notice how he responds when you disagree with his advice. The healthy, protective guy, he's going to want to offer guidance sometimes, but he's going to trust your judgment if you don't follow it. He doesn't feel threatened by your decisions. He respects them. A controlling guy, on the other hand, is going to resent your choice or take it personally. Your disagreement feels like criticism to him, and he'll likely remind you later if things don't go the way he wanted them to go. Number 2 is pay attention to how he handles your need for space. A guy who's protective respects the part of you that don't include him. He gives you breathing room, steps back naturally, and lets you set the pace of how quickly you invite him in. A controlling man tries to gently or not so gently push his way into every corner of your life. And sometimes from early on, he's going to test the boundaries and pressure you to let him into places you're not ready to share. Number 3 is watch how he values your strength. A healthy protector genuinely admires your ability to shine on your own. He steps in when you want, but he never tries to force himself into fixing something that you're enjoying fixing yourself. He trusts that your strength doesn't diminish his own. A controlling man feels uncomfortable or challenged personally when you handle things well without him. He might try to undercut your confidence or imply passive-aggressively that you'd have done better if you followed his advice. Number 4 is notice what happens when you need his emotional support. The healthy protector can hold space without needing to instantly solve your emotional state. He listens patiently. He doesn't feel inadequate or upset because you are upset. A controlling guy is going to get anxious or defensive when you're expressing emotions because your discomfort is going to trigger his discomfort. So he tries to carry you towards feeling better, more to calm himself and support you. Number 5, observe how he handles your no. A solid protector hears your no, respects it, and moves on. Your boundary feels to him like a healthy clarification instead of a personal rejection. A controlling guy is going to resist or debate your no, no matter how small it might be. It might feel subtle, then he'll ask again until you finally say reluctantly yes, but you'll feel the pressure rather than his respect. To end this, I have 2 more bits of wisdom for you. The art of inspiring a man to step up his healthy protection instinct is not a strategy. It's not a bunch of canned phrases you get to say to him to make him fall for you. It's a way of being. It's at the core of it all. Your ability to know that 1 + 1 = 10 with the right person. You deserve a guy who takes some of the weight off your shoulders. You deserve to feel free to want what you want without trying to make it acceptable by others. Choosing a healthy, generous, and protective guy doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger because you no longer have to prove to anyone subconsciously, energetically, that you can do things on your own. No one survives this world on their own. We all need each other, and you've got this. And if you found this meaningful and insightful, it would mean the world to me and my channel, because this is how I can grow and reach more women. If you do 2 things, like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to learn how you can attract the relationship of your dreams without the need for gimmicks, manipulation, or stupid techniques, make sure to go to the next video right here.